All right. Good morning, everybody. So excited to be here. I'm Nikki Burnett. This is Taste Life Nutrition Radio and podcast streaming live on kuhsdenver.com, where we have today Bron Watson with an amazing story, doing amazing things in this world. So, Bron, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to jump in with you.
Well, thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so before we jump in, there are a couple of things we want to make sure that we talk about. One is who we are, right? Who we are
Yeah.
as a company, who we are as a philosophy, who we are as a radio show, right? So one of the things that we believe here at Taste Life Nutrition is that we want to change the narrative about what health is. And what's really fun too, Bron, just to sort of throw it out there, is looking at the materials and the writings and your website and the things that you put out there. We're so aligned. It was really fun. I was like,
Yes,
we speak the same language. It was really cool.
we do.
But there's this narrative out in the world where we want to be healthy to avoid something. I want to
Yeah.
avoid disease. I want to avoid what happened to my parents, or whatever the case may be, right? Instead of what is my potential and what does health bring? What is the potential when we have health, right? And so what we believe here is health is what really gives us the capacity to fully live and to fully taste life, right? And so when we build that health, we have this capacity to live and to love and to lead and to really fully live this life that God created for us. And so that's what we want to promote. That's what we want to talk about. And so we believe that the body is so amazingly intelligent. And even when we have to struggle with the stuff that life puts in front of us, which is what we're going to get into with Bron, um, there's so much more to it, and you can take it and you can build such beautiful things out of the adversity, right? So anyway, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to kind of let you jump in and give a little bit. Oh, I almost forgot. The one thing that we always talk about is we start with gratitude. So I want you to tell us first what you're grateful for. I bet I know what it is because we just talked about
We did. I am so grateful because I have just been to Spain and
it.
Japan for a month. And with the type of cancer that I have, most people wouldn't have the courage or have the doctor to say go. Whereas I just knew I was going and I prepped for that. So I am so grateful that I have just been on, I don't know how many planes across multiple countries and I didn't get sick at all.
Amazing.
So that, let me tell you, is pretty darn exciting because most of the time in my previous last few years, I've got sick every time. So, you know, I got to think we're onto something here. So, yeah, I'm very, very grateful and just so pleased to report back that it went smoothly.
So good. So I'm curious, just because that's how my brain works. When you say you get sick, is it sick from like a bug because of your immune system, or is it sick like there's some you're struggling with your cancer?
No, it is immuno related. So
Okay.
obviously being
Yeah.
immunocompromised due
Hmm.
to treatments,
Yeah.
I am susceptible and, such things as influenza B or COVID or just
Hmm.
nasty viruses. And when I've had low neutrophils, so neutrophils, as you would know, are part of the white blood cells, which are what help fight infection. And so I've had low neutrophils for years.
Yeah.
And when I get sick, they get really, really low, like zero point
Mhm.
0.4, like really low. And yeah, so it's all based around being immunocompromised,
Yeah.
and that's just a risk with
Yeah.
where I'm at. But
Yeah.
I choose to just go, thank you, but I'm going to find a way around it.
Yeah, I love that so much. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, what am I grateful for? I mean, I think we both just talked about it, right? We are on our way to our annual family reunion. It's my husband's side of the family. They have had this, you call it a reunion, you call it a fishing trip, you call it a week vacation, what do you want to call it? But his whole family, for the most part, gets together every year for the last 70 years in the same area of Colorado to fish. So his grandfather used to write for Field and Stream, and so found this
Wow.
cool little area in south central Colorado where he just fell in love, and that's the area that we go every year. And so yeah, almost 70 years that we've been doing this, and the tradition just remains going and remains strong. And there's about 45 of us who are going to be out there. So we prep and we cook and we pack and we take all of the stuff, and we just spend the whole week in this little area just having fun. So
Oh,
it's
so
yeah,
good.
it's really nice. It's really
It
nice.
sounds fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So fun. So yeah, people come in from all over the country who are coming in just for this. So it's great stuff. So let's do this. I want you, and I do this with everyone, but I think it's so important is let's talk about your story, sort of wherever you think it's relevant to kind of start to give a little bit of history. I'm sure you talk about this stuff all the time because this is what you do, but let's just start there and we'll go.
Well, I'll give you the context because I think context to where I got to be here is
Mhm.
kind of important. So, once upon a time, in a very few decades ago, when I was younger, I chose to do nursing. And I loved my profession. I loved giving to my patients, and I got a lot of joy out of being able to help people when they needed help. Worked my way into nursing education, taught at university, taught in the workplace. So I've been in that for over 3 decades. Along with that, again, happily married to my husband, we have 5 sons.
Mm,
So if you're thinking of a theme here, the theme is that Bron gave a lot to a lot of people. And then, it must be, I don't know how many years ago, 12, 13 years ago, I started my own business. So I've had a dual career with nursing and marketing. So I thought, oh, look, as you do when you're turning 40, I'm going to start a business. Can't be that hard. And yeah, right. So
uh,
I built this most incredible business in business mentoring because I'd started with developing education packages for nurses online. And then I was able to leave. Basically, I was still always there, but leave full-time or part-time employment. And people would say, oh, how did you get out of nursing? Oh my God, how did you do that? So then I started to teach other people to do what I did. And I built this big mentoring business as you go online. And what do they tell you to do? We've got to run the retreats and have the workshops and do all the courses. I did all the things.
yeah.
And I knew for years, I had this gut feeling going, Bron, what are you doing? This
Mm,
is not right. And in
interesting.
2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm,
It was the Thursday afternoon to the following Wednesday afternoon, I'm on the operating table having a mastectomy.
mm,
And no time to process, got caught into the machine without even thinking because I was in free fall, as you are when you have a diagnosis like that.
mhm, mhm,
Go through all the treatments, do all the things, start doing a lot of work on myself. And coming up to the 5-year mark, neutrophils are still low. They thought, okay, go and speak to a new, I've got it is early in the morning here. Go and speak to a hematologist about my bloods, right? Diagnosed with multiple myeloma, incurable blood cancer. Where did that come from? No symptoms. So I've been down this curative lane and now I'm down an incurable lane. And through all of that, it brought me not to my knees, Nikki, but to the floor,
yeah.
which is I had nothing left,
Mhm,
nothing.
mhm,
So I had to start looking inwards. And that was the epiphany of going, Bron, self-care is not a luxury. It is something that you need to do for yourself because you are no good to anyone else. And that's where I started working on myself. And I called it the Serenity Project because I am the beta test,
yeah.
finding ways to go on a path of healing. Because if I listen to the medical profession, I've listened to Western medicine, there's no cure.
Right.
But, there is so much we can do.
Mhm,
And I think that's where our alignment comes in. There is just so much we can do.
yeah.
I'd love to remove all of the silos, remove the word cure and just put in the word heal. Imagine
Mhm,
if
mhm.
everyone started turning up to Cancer Institute saying, I'm on a path of healing.
Yeah.
So that's how we got here.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. So true. So true. I'm curious about something. One of the things that I speak to a lot that I want sort of, I sure I want to help people be healthy, right? But I want people to learn to understand the language of their body. What
Yes,
is the body trying to say? What is it trying to tell them? And understand that if we have a symptom, that we don't just go take an Advil, right? We start to ask questions
correct.
why, so we know what the symptom is and how we can manage it and how we can support our body in partnership, right? And I'm
Yes.
curious about even if you have the ability, I mean, I'm sure you do. I would imagine you've thought about this, but prior to the first diagnosis of breast cancer, you're going and going and going and going and going. Do you know, were there signs that maybe you just didn't pay attention to, that your body was like, you need to slow down, something needs to happen other than, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Look, my body was trying to talk to me,
Hmm.
but because I was so busy,
Yeah.
doing what everyone tells me to do online, looking after the children, doing all of the things, that I was so focused on everybody else's happiness. I'll
Hmm.
use the word happiness. And I didn't even give myself thought. And you're thinking, well, how can someone who's relatively smart miss that memo? But I did. And I used to think that self-care was, you might go for a massage or, retreats in
Hmm.
beautiful Byron Bay or in Australia or some gorgeous spot in Colorado. And I thought it was a luxury.
Hmm.
Like, what was I thinking? Like, in all seriousness, how did I miss the fact that if you do not look after yourself, it's going to give? And, I did have taps on the back of my head. I did have taps inside my gut going, Bron, come on.
Yeah.
I knew,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I did not listen. And I don't know why I didn't listen. I've made peace because I can't change the past. But what I can
Exactly.
do, I can
Yeah.
change the present, and I can absolutely change the future.
Hmm. Hmm.
So um, if you're not listening because you're too busy doing, we are human beings. We're not
Hmm.
human doings. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
To
It's so
be
true.
is just to be a being,
Hmm.
because when you're a being, it'll slow down enough for that little
Hmm.
voice to say,
Hmm.
hey, Bron,
Hmm.
we all have that. Call it what you will in whatever you believe.
Hmm.
It's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully agree with that. It's if we're not if we don't if we're not if we don't stop, we can't hear, right?
Correct.
Because we're up in our little whirlwind. I am one of the things that I love is I talk about, so in the mornings it's my prayer time, right? And so my prayer time is the time where I'm doing my Bible study and I'm talking to God and that kind of thing. But for me here in Colorado, I mean, it would be anywhere, but I can't do this in the winter because it's too freaking cold. But
Yeah.
the sun comes out, it's warm, it's this amazing dry heat. That's what gets me outside, and I get to lay out in the sun and meditate.
Yes.
And that's my talking to. That's me being still so God can talk to me. And hopefully throughout my day, I'm trying to find those times to be still so I can hear him talking to me, right? I do that, and I'm working on my own habits, um listening time, right? So like if I'm working with clients or patients, if I'm working on a report for them, praying that he will help me and guide me
Yep.
in what I'm doing for each person I'm working with, so it's the right thing according to his will, right? Anyway, I think I fully am with you that we've got to find that way, and I'm not great at it. I'm not great at being still because there's always so much to do, right? You run a business, there's always a million things to do. But if we don't stop and be still, stuff goes wonky, right?
It
To
does.
say the least.
It does. Rest is medicine.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
It is not a privilege.
Yeah.
It is medicine. As I said, I've just been to Spain, and obviously it was so darn hot. But I tell you, the siesta, they nail it in the way that they have this beautiful, calm way. They don't start until 10. They'll go to maybe 2, then they'll have a siesta, and they might start again at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
But
That.
it's this gentle
Mhm.
pace. They're not having dinner till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, but it's not dinner that we have. It's just tapas, and they'll have a big meal in the day. But it's the calm pace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they'll sit in the piazzas and they'll talk to each other. There's not a phone to be seen.
Oh.
And you've got all the neighbours sitting there talking to each other. And how do I know this? Because the guy who took me on the tour lived in Spain for a very long time. And so he's fluent in Spanish. So he was telling us the culture and how, like, obviously it's not all culture, but
Mhm.
what that teaches us is that rest is medicine. So it's
Mhm.
not a choice.
Yeah.
You want to heal, you want to improve something in your life.
Mhm.
There's only one way to do that, and that's to start focusing inward.
Yeah.
So for me, I do sit outside in the morning. I have a cup of coffee. It's my thing. I got
Mhm.
my little cup here,
Yeah. Nice.
and I sit with my doggy and I'll journal for 3 pages.
Good
So
for
back in
you.
the 90s, there was a book called The Artist's Way with the morning pages.
Mhm.
And you're not writing to-do lists. You're just writing whatever's in your head. And what happens, and it's like you are praying to God,
Mhm.
universe,
Mhm.
source, whatever
Sure.
you believe in.
Yeah.
It just comes out. And what it does is it sets the day in such a way that your intention is not set from a controlling perspective, because I think that's what a lot of people do is they want to control everything. They've got to
Mhm.
put their meditation in the calendar and the, the journaling and all of the things, and there's just no room left,
Mhm.
versus the fluidity of a Spanish culture, which is just calm it down.
Mhm.
It's going to happen, but it might not be at 9, it might be at 9:30, and
Yeah.
be absolutely okay with that,
Yeah.
and understanding what that priority is. So yeah, I do that every single day. And it might be early, it might be later, but
Mhm.
what that does is that I'm setting that intention of, and when I am clouded and when I am anxious,
Mhm.
I'll actually ask myself, Bron, what's on your path of healing? Because I'm on a path of healing, not curing. I'm on a
Yep.
path of healing. So what is there? What does that mean? And I'll
Mhm.
start writing words. Like I posted about this yesterday for this exact reason. So it can, it's around saying to like if you want to improve yourself, that's the best and first way to do it, I reckon, from my experience.
I was gonna look up your post. I was like, I'll
And
do that
it's
later.
a real, and I look so bad, and I've gone, oh my God,
Oh.
I look so bad. I went, you know what, I don't care, because I was just like going, you know what, I can't be bothered doing any of this. I can't be bothered doing anything.
Yeah.
So then I started writing down, well, what does it mean? It means calm. It means, and what did healing mean? And it just literally swung me back to being
Hmm.
able to go and do what I wanted to do or be. It's all about being in my world. How do I want to be?
Yeah.
And I think that when we start with that first and let go of the control, which is, sometimes I know things will happen, but I have no idea how. And when it comes to
Mhm.
health,
Mhm.
we want to control, your clients would tell you this. They want to
Yeah.
control everything,
Mhm. Mhm.
but you can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, got to let it out and trust
Mhm. Yeah.
that no matter what, the
Sure.
right thing is going to happen, which
Right.
it's out of you. I can't. Can I control the red blood cells growing in my large bones?
Right. Right.
I can influence them, but can I
Mhm.
control them?
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah. That's such a perfect way of putting it. I would love for you to, here's what's interesting. I now know which the type, I want to talk a little bit about the second type of cancer you have, the multiple myeloma.
Yep.
Um, the first time I heard of it was a few years ago. I have
Yeah.
someone in my network, right, that who is
Yeah.
struggling with it, or who has it. He's not struggling, right, which is like you, right? There's such a
He's living through it, right? We're just living through it.
exactly right. It's exactly right, and he's doing great things. He's an advocate. He helps people through it. I don't know if y'all ever connected, but
I
um,
did try. I did try. I think then we all just got caught up. I,
yeah, I mean,
but
life.
that's okay. It's all right. It's no big deal. We can try
Um,
again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So have a friend who was fairly recently diagnosed, and then I met you, and it was I believe, and you'll be able to tell more about this, but before fairly recently, it's a fairly rare cancer, and it's
Yeah.
kind of ticking up a little bit. Is that the correct
I
way to
think
say
so.
it?
Like I
Mhm.
do know Australian statistics. So obviously in America, we're just going to however many, because, we have 27 million and you have what, 300 and something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I lose count. I'll leave that for people who need to know that.
Yeah,
But in Australia,
exactly.
for example, it's about 1% of cancers, and that's equals about 22,000 Australians have multiple myeloma.
Mm.
But there's another 80,000 who are walking around who don't even know it because it smolders. A
Uh,
lot of these blood cancers do what we call as smoldering. It's called MGUS or IGUS or whatever. And I'm not worried about the technical side because I'm not the doctor. I don't need to worry about that stuff. And it can smolder. And so, like, I was very fortunate to find out when I did, because normally what would happen with myeloma is that I'd bend down to pick up a bag and I'd break a rib because it goes to the bones. It's called lytic lesions. So a lot of people aren't diagnosed until they're having these horrendous orthopedic bone issues,
oh my
whereas I
goodness.
didn't have that. And so I am so grateful for that. And I had obviously no symptoms, none at all. And, you know, I had a doctor say to me, Bron, being a nurse, they said, oh, you're the third nurse that's come in their 50s where they went, well, can we do some research on this?
That might help.
So
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on, but I think that, you know, I don't know. There's so many factors out there, but I'd love to see something done in that space. I think that's the aim of the game. There's
Mhm.
so much research and so many trials and so much forward action that has taken place just in the last 5 years alone, that it will drastically change and improve people's um, timelines and quality of life.
Mhm. Would you agree? Because I think with any of these really serious conditions, our world struggles with, there are always multiple factors.
Yeah.
But it seems to me the more busy we get, the more toxic our environment gets, the more toxic stuff we put on our skin and put in our body, and the water. I mean, it's like all of these things. I talk about. You've probably heard the same thing, but you've got your bucket, and you get to the point where your bucket's just like it just overflows. Your body's like, all right, now I need you to come in, and we got some really big stuff to start to clean up.
Yes.
The bucket's just overflowing with so much
Yes.
stuff. So
Stuff.
yeah, I mean, and that's why, so much of what I do is about let's understand genetics. And I'm not talking about
Yeah.
genetics for cancer, but like, how do you detoxify? Let's work on,
Yes.
you're not detoxifying well, let's work on why. And let's look at that. What are your other risk factors? And let's kind of start to mitigate. And let's look at how we can take the toxins out and look at what we're putting on our body and under our armpits, right? And washing our
Yes.
hair with and washing our clothes with, because the more of those things that are these simple and also inexpensive lifestyle modifications, that bucket just gets less and less and less, and our body's able to handle some of these bigger things that might come up. So do you agree with
Oh,
that?
couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
And that's the problem, I think, with medicine or Western medicine as it stands, is it's all very siloed.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you get caught into the hamster wheel of the medical side, and they're just looking at disease. And as an educator, you can imagine how that went down, right? Because I was shocked. And
Mhm.
I've been in the game for so many times.
Yeah.
And I go to the point where my gorgeous hematologist, he's such a good man. I said, I've just got to give you a little bit of feedback. I said, I've had a call from one of the doctors in your team, one of the juniors, and there was a problem with a particular blood and they needed me to take something, but didn't explain why. And I said, well, why? And she said, oh, well, maybe diet. I went, well, maybe not. So, could I have some information? I said, you've just got to give some feedback. Just letting the doctors know that there's a human being attached to that blood result. And
Mhm.
he's just looking at me, but he listens because
Good.
that's what happens. It's all
Yeah.
siloed. It's not an either or an or.
Mhm.
It is an and.
Yeah.
And this is the part of anybody facing adversity. What are the things that are in your control? That's the serenity prayer. God, grant me serenity to accept what I cannot change,
Mhm.
the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So
Mhm.
there is so much that we can look after
Yeah.
and not waste energy on the things we can't. about it doesn't matter what path of healing you take. Because I've had people go, oh, you've taken that path, have you?
Oh,
Sorry?
wow.
Yeah,
Oh
more
my
than one.
goodness.
More than one. And I've gone, thank you so much for your feedback. You have no idea what you'll do until you're in that spot. And I literally pray to God that you'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, whatever path you choose, that's the right one. As long as you've chosen it, you haven't just drifted into it like a boat on the water. You know,
Yeah.
you want to be able to make
Yeah.
some choices here. And I talk
Yeah.
about people being a CEO of themselves, which is so in line with you, which is I'm the CEO of Bron. Who's in my executive committee?
Yeah.
And it might not be specialists.
Mm-hmm.
It may be
Yeah.
nutritionists. It might
Mm-hmm.
be naturopaths. It might be people. I have an energy healer. Look, I give her the wrong name every time. Kerry Chinner. She's the one who helped me walk through the most hardest times of my life, working on me and healing and energy and quantum and all of the things I can't even explain.
Yeah.
But she's on my executive committee. She gets a vote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get the end vote
Yeah.
versus some people who just, and the statistics tell us that 60% of those who do have a diagnosis just float along and let whatever happen. So this is where we want to work on improving people's self-advocacy
Oh man.
to go and go, hang on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do here? If I had my time again, Nikki, I would not have rushed. At that 6 days, I would
Mm-hmm.
not have rushed. I would have learned all of the things I can
Yeah.
do, and then at least I would have been healthy
Yeah.
versus chronically not healthy
Mm-hmm.
due to lifestyle. I mean, I have beautiful bloods before that. But do you know what I mean? I was overweight, but that was it. I never smoked, I never drank. But it's about cool.
Yeah.
Let's address
Yeah.
as you know, the root cause. Let's
Mm-hmm.
address what's in that bucket, and
Yeah.
let's start to get some of
Yeah.
it clear. Because otherwise, we just got this very murky, murky mess that
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to fix and heal. And I don't go. I don't ever do hindsight. I don't ever look back.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
that's why today, starting now, if
Mm-hmm.
anybody's out there and they're
Mm-hmm.
feeling like today, make a decision for yourself. What
Yeah.
do you want to happen in your body and your life?
Mm-hmm. I think that that's one of my biggest motivators with this show. And then of course, anybody I talk to, but we have pretty good reach with the show, right? We're 250,000 give or take. But that's really so much of what I'll say it when I'm talking, I'll say it in the show, I'll say it anywhere, but everybody has their own decisions to make. But we've got to have the knowledge and the background and the understanding to be able to make smart decisions for whatever it is
Yes.
that you choose,
Yep.
right? So
Agreed.
yeah, so knowledge is power, and that power gives us choice, right? And so, and you talk about, people get a diagnosis and they float through. I experienced that so much with my mom.
Yeah.
And that poor woman who was just the sweetest thing in the world, and it was, I mean, it was glioblastoma, right? So it was
Yeah.
big and scary,
Nasty.
and it's nasty.
It's nasty.
And it was 6 weeks from diagnosis
Yeah.
to her passing, but that's what she did. She took it
Yeah.
and she's like, all right, I guess I'm done. I'm like, how's that even possible? I worked harder for her than she worked for her. It's like, okay,
Yes.
we have these things
And
we can
it's
do.
and it
And
is
yeah,
hard.
yeah.
And you've got to think statistics wise, 20% go, oh, knew it
Mm-hmm.
and give up and die. That's the
Mm-hmm.
60% in the midi, which is, oh, okay. All right. So the doctor says I've got this much time. Well, I must have. And then
Yeah.
there's and that's okay. And then there's the 20%, which is where I'm in, going, hang on a minute. Tell me more about where you get that information because I was given a diagnosis of a single digit. Tell me where that came from. Oh, well, most people with this treatment, they go through 3 rounds and they're usually 70 and, they go do about 3 rounds and then that's enough. And I'm going, do I look 70? This is literally what I said. Do I look 70? I
Yeah.
wasn't rude, guys. I have such a beautiful relationship with every single specialist I have. I
Mhm.
have numerous now,
Yep.
but they are part of the wider picture,
Yeah.
the wider picture. And
Mhm.
I feel that um, when I'm the one in the game, but actively participating. I'm an active participant. If you know a health literacy person, please let me know, because if anyone's listening, I really would love to speak to a health literacy expert, because I feel if we can improve health literacy, meaning people understand, you don't need to read the articles. I'll tell you what, you go to Google, you'll go to AI, they're going to spit you out all of this research that is not written for the average person to read.
Yeah, for sure.
I can read a little bit of it. Do I understand it much? No.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get this horrendous information. So you want to be able to understand the bits you're meant to understand
Mm-hmm.
from valid sources and
Mm-hmm.
experts such as yourself, Nikki, who understand it. That's your role here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones who go on your committee. I don't need to be a
Yeah.
researcher. I just need to have access to someone who can help me understand the
Right.
research.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and that's, again, so fun. We just go along the lines of speaking the same language, but it's like you got to build your team. So you got to build your
Yes.
committee, right? It's like your team of people who you trust, who you know are on your side. Everybody might not agree on everything entirely, but you're the ultimate decision maker. But you got to have the people who you can go to. I don't understand this. I have this just in my business with my bookkeeper and my accountant because I don't like numbers unless they're on a piece of
Yeah.
paper telling me what your body's trying to tell us, right? I don't like numbers.
You only want those kind of numbers. I agree. I agree. The quicker you can, like in business, you delegate things.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't need to be an accountant and I don't need to understand tax law,
Yeah.
but I do need to understand that I need to employ someone or bring someone on who does have those qualifications,
Yeah.
and I feel that that's where, in this space there, and, influencers who are sharing their journey, and I call that perception. It's their perception of life
Sure.
versus perspective.
Mhm.
So to me, like Serenity Project is where science and souls meet with evidence and perspective. And the perspective comes because I'm in a very unique position
Mhm.
of being in the health profession as a registered nurse and nurse educator, qualified, master's degree, blah 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 blah, but like whatever. But I'm allowed an opinion on that,
Mhm.
and that I've been in a curable lane of cancer and an incurable lane of cancer. So the perspective what I bring to that conversation is different to a perception. So we want to understand when you're looking for your experts, make sure that they know what they're talking about. And no, it's about, in terms of integrative medicine, right, is what they like to call it.
Yep.
But
Yep.
you have your own team. They
Mhm.
don't need to be. It could be your mum's best friend because
Yeah.
she's learned the stuff from her ancestors.
Mhm.
Don't
Mhm.
don't don't dismiss
Yeah.
don't dismiss those simple things in life.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So let's talk about the Serenity Project, and what that has become, because it started like with what you said, it was you.
Just
Right.
it's just started with me and finding my path of healing,
Yeah.
because I couldn't find it.
Mm.
I found bits and pieces from all sorts of different places. For example, a lot of the national charities and Cancer Council, they'll put out information for you to read. But I was in no fit state to pick up a phone and have a conversation with someone.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even talk to my own family because I didn't know what to say. I had no answers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about these simple things that we can do for ourselves. I call them serenity moments. And what it's evolved to is that it's a community. We're about to launch. The book comes out in a couple of months. There's been a lot happen in
Yeah.
that space. The podcast is coming along beautifully. It's it's around providing information based on perspective, evidence, and in that space, in that third space of science and soul, where people can then take the bits they need and leave the rest and become the own CEOs of themselves. If
Mm-hmm.
that's what I can do in my world, I'd love to change the way in Australia, I can't talk for other countries, how we treat our patients with cancer. They're
Mm-hmm.
human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Let's treat them as a human being, people. And it's not anyone's fault. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a system. It's a fundamental flaw in a system. And, if that's my life lesson or my life legacy, great. And I can't do it on my own. So,
Yeah.
I'm just one of many. But it's, what I am good at is bringing people together.
Yeah. I feel like, and you're going to know this better than I do, but it feels like in this sort of Western medicine way that we do things, that because we have our specialists, it's almost like they lose the emotion. They lose a part of them to empathize with the people they're working with, because that's all they do day in and day out for the same person. So it's like they stop seeing the person. Does that make sense? And is that
It makes sense.
feels like?
It completely makes sense, and that has been my experience. But it's not personal.
Mhm,
It's
sure.
not someone being apathetic. It's these doctors care.
Yeah.
The clinical nurse specialists, they care.
Hmm.
The system is making it very difficult for them. In terms
Yeah.
of, I was put
Gotcha.
on a
Yeah.
medication, a postmenopausal medication post breast cancer. And I was put into menopause from the chemotherapy, blah, 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 blah. Here we are on this drug, right?
Hmm.
And I'd been taking it for a year. And then my normal doctor said, Bron, my God, what's going on? Your cholesterol's gone through the roof.
Mm.
I'm going, oh no, great. So off we go to the cardiologist, echocardiogram, all the tests, everything's fine except the cholesterol. Then I go back to the oncologist and she said, oh, Bron, that's just a side effect of the drug.
Mm.
What?
Hmm.
Why wasn't I told? You can't assume that I have
Yeah.
capability or
Mm.
capacity to go and research, because there are people who love researching and they'll go to town. Then
Hmm.
there are those where I don't do a lot of research because I'm at capacity.
Hmm.
I'm researching things that are important to me, but I'm not researching, medical articles on multiple myeloma treatment. That's why I have specialists. They can tell
Right.
me what's coming up,
Right.
So I feel that it's that silo. They just get
Hmm.
siloed into their
Yeah.
specialty. They get
Hmm.
siloed into where they work, and they're focusing on the illness, the disease, the body part, the limb.
Hmm.
And that's just the system versus other parts of integrative medicine, including yourself, which is like, hang on, let's bring it back out.
Hmm.
What's happening to Bron as a whole? How
Hmm.
did we get here?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I'm laughing because it's so inane in some ways, and I'm not knocking a system. So please, guys, when you give feedback to Nikki, please don't give me a hard time. But what I'm saying is this is the reality, my reality.
Right. Well, and I think it's a great thing, because I think there's the Western medicine has a role, and having your specialist, there's a role. But I think that having also those who do that and come back and can look at the big picture, because the first thing is when something like that happens, talking about your cholesterol and it just like randomly just shoots sky high. We always have to ask why. We may not know the answers ourselves, but instead of just going, because what happens a lot, right, is drug after drug after drug after drug.
I,
Okay,
I
well,
I was given a drug and I
yeah,
didn't want to take it. I refused,
good for you.
and then I got scared, going great, because my doctor said, Bron, we don't want to go through all of this and then you have a heart attack, do we?
And so, but that's such a problem, and this will take us on a whole other,
And that's the vortex of fear. Bron just fell
yeah,
straight into it. Okay, give me the drug, give me the drug,
yeah.
and I want off it, right? But so now I'm at capacity, which is where my beautiful friend you, Nikki, can help me. Going right, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
What are the things we can? So it's not an either or when it
Mhm,
comes to treatment. When it
mhm,
comes to managing our health, full stop. It's not an either or, it's an and. It's
mhm.
this and that and that and that. And my that's are going to be different to yours.
Yeah,
But that's because that's what a
mhm,
path of healing will look
yeah,
like.
yeah.
And that's the important part, is to find it. And then, people are going to go, oh my God, well, where do I start?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think I might have told you this before. I've got this really quick analogy. I'll be super quick. But
Great, take
imagine
your
you
time.
and I, we're on the basketball court, right? We're on the basketball court and we're playing basketball, right? We're running down, we're on the offense. You pass it to me. It's an absolute easy shot. I miss the shot. Coach says, time out, everyone off, let's go, 30 seconds. In that moment, there's two options. We can either A, pull apart the mistake I've made, or B, focus on the next play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's very famous quotes and books written about this. The next play, not the next half or quarter, not the game, not the season, but literally the next play. So when you're in these states of confusion and overwhelm and going, well, Bron, I don't know. I don't even know who to put on my CEO. I don't know who to put in my committee. Where do I even start?
Mm-hmm.
You just start with the next thing.
Yeah.
I know I will. I just don't know how. I don't have all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try to control it all. I'm just going to look at the very next thing, which is, okay, cholesterol, cancer, breast cancer, chemotherapy. We need to find someone who understands how that all happens, because I sure as hell don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll start dealing with that cholesterol, or make it something smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Make it smaller.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a big thing. It can literally be putting something away off the kitchen table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's backing up a little bit, but not, is there's always the fear. There's the fear. What if I make the wrong decisions? Or now there's this other thing and there's this fear and I have to do this because of this fear, instead of, and what I believe you're doing with your Serenity Project is, let's try to take the fear out and let's slow down and figure out how to find the answers that make sense for you. And so you're making your choices, and you listen to those who are making the suggestions for you, right? But you're making the choices, right?
Absolutely.
Instead of doing things out of fear.
Absolutely, because fear is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because fear is no place. You can't, for me, I can't make decisions in fear, because I am running the Oscar-winning performance of the movie, of the catastrophe that I think is coming, right? And that's what happens. So I have taught myself through learning what I've learned to, I don't know, I'm probably up to, I don't know how many, I'd have to be over 50 appointments now at a cancer institute. I can walk in and my blood is as good as the last blood result. It can change just like that. And I'll have no warning other than Bron paraprotein's risen or land of light chains have gone crazy. And I don't expect it. I'm not waiting for it. But I'm also not a Pollyanna either, with rainbows and lollipops going, I'm cured. I'm walking there so consciously present in just the moment. I'm opening the door out of the car. I'm sitting in there. I am not even giving one bit of energy or focus to what's about to happen when I walk through those double doors, until I have to. Because once I walk through the double doors, I will be given some sort of information. I call them left-hand turns, and then I'll deal with it. But I'm not going there until I have to. And it's, I've got to come up with a word with it, because it's just that so consciously present in the moment. And there is other words for it, guys, if you go and research this stuff. But it's such a place, and you can learn it. Every single one of us can learn it. And I'm walking around the top of that vortex of fear, but I'm not falling in. I am not falling into it. If I fall in, I'll get out. I will not stay there. Hate the word victim, but victims live in the vortex of fear. And that's okay. And I love and appreciate anybody who's in that space right now, and just say, hey, come on, I'm waiting for you. I'm here. Come on, I'm here for you.
Yeah. How are you, so this might be a little redundant because you said this, but I was going to say, what are other ways that you're reaching people with this? Because you've got the book and you're building this community. Maybe it's more, what are your goals with it at this point?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. My goal, to be honest with you, is that I'd love to have enough people on a mailing list so that when I go speak to people who are in significant roles, who can make influences in healthcare, that I have a tribe. So Seth Godin's tribe, I would love a tribe. I'm working on a tribe, one person at a time. And, you can't do that alone. And so the more I can create awareness for people to be aware that they have a choice, that's all I can ask for. So, there's a lot of stuff happening there, but that's the goal, is to have a tribe so that I don't know where it'll go. I know I will. I don't know how. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's not going to be Serenity Project. It'll be something else because
Mm-hmm.
I'll have collaborated with someone or a group of people where we collectively go and say, hey, okay, we need to make a stand here.
Mm-hmm.
And that you don't have to find it yourself
Mm-hmm.
because, there's so many options and people and experts and so-called experts. Where do you know? Where do you go?
Yeah. 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 Do you do, and I think I know the answer to this, but do you do any kind of like group work, consultation work, any of that stuff?
Look, I do lots of different things and I've spoken at lots of different
Mm-hmm.
things. If it goes that way, yeah, I will. I've thought about doing high teas because I love high tea.
Oh,
Literally run a group session, but with high tea.
okay.
Because, I think it's, group. I love starting with gratitude. And I think a lot of the times, that people think they've got to, like, I didn't want to have a part of any group for years because I couldn't handle my own story, let alone listening to someone else's.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I didn't want to hear people going, I didn't want to hear about the sob stories. I didn't want to hear about medications. I didn't want to hear about ailments or health because I had to live my own health. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about being a leader in that space, being able to have conversation that is sacred, but also very uplifting versus focusing on, the negative stuff. Because we know it's there, but,
Mm-hmm.
there's other places for that. That's not what
Mm-hmm.
this is about.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's really such a great point because what can happen, and I've experienced this in a different way, in a different setting, but I feel like what can happen is it can easily go negative. You people get together, they're talking about their stuff, and
Yep.
it's scary and it's frustrating and it's all of these things
Yep.
potentially, and it can go the wrong direction. And like I said, in a different way. I'm like, oh, it just kind of makes sense when you want to keep it positive, right? I mean, changing the mindset is a huge part of
Mm, mm.
creating and building health, the health that you want.
Well, well, that's where it starts. That's
Yeah.
it's literally the basketball.
Yeah.
There's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go the next play or
Mm-hmm.
we're not. And it's the people who want to do the next play. They're the people I want to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no disrespect to people who don't want to do that because everyone has their own, like your mum,
Mm-hmm.
the acceptance of, well, this is my lot in life.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas you and I would go, hang on, no, 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 hang on a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? So I think it's just, I absolutely respect whoever and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's
Sure.
just, it's bigger than me. And that's the exciting part because, my answer was vague because it's going to happen. I just don't know how.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
right people will come and we'll connect and we'll collaborate. That's what I think will happen. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's gonna go. And
Yeah.
obviously with a marketing background and all of the things that I that's where I've got skill sets in that space. So, there's yeah, it's gonna be fun. And I will keep going because I have people go to me, well, Bron, why are you bothering? It's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
And my answer is that I will until I can't.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, good for you. Yeah. So I was looking around, and you have what's called the intentional flow framework. Yes.
I do.
Hit on that a little bit.
Well, that's great. This is where my memory comes in. What the intentional flow framework looks like is, in a nutshell, and I could be wrong because I've got it out there somewhere, is around if something's happening. I think that have you got anything in front of you with what it says, or it's just
So, I've
I
got
just
some.
don't want to say the wrong thing. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Your experience with building life after adversity helps people make decisions based on capacity, values, purpose, rather than pressure or obligation. Encourages
Yes,
with greater clarity, calm, and intentionality.
yes. So it starts with capacity. And what capacity is? Capacity is my compass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the old Bron would have just shoved so much on her plate and goals and all of the things that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the capacity wouldn't have mattered. I just would have found the capacity. So I was borrowing energy from like 2 years in
Mm-hmm.
advance.
Yeah.
Whereas now what I'm talking about is that when we focus on our energy, when we focus inward first, capacity becomes a compass, which means that you live and do what you want to do based on what you can do, and you say no when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a
Saying no is such a
boundary.
big deal.
It's, and so when you're driven with capacity, I actually did a business plan this year for the first time in 3 years, written in pencil, but I did write it, and my goal was healing. So anything that in my life, anything that's with family, with life, is all around, does it focus on healing?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if it doesn't fit, it doesn't go on the board. That's
Mm-hmm.
the capacity part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we live through that, and what was the next thing, just so I get the next step right? You'd
Uh,
think I'd know my own work, wouldn't you? But it's this where my short-term memory is
no,
shot.
that's okay. So the next part, are you talking about with purpose rather
There's
than
3 steps. Yeah.
pressure, pressure of obligation, or
Yeah, I think it's just around, like, to me, it's that boundary, which means energy, right? If
mm-hmm.
you're not feeling it, please back yourself
Mm-hmm.
and either say, look, either find someone else to do something or just say no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I would have just kept going. My kids would come, oh, Mum, I've lost a sock. What did I do? I'd go running after them. You might think that's a really simple example. You multiply that out,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not that simple.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd jump up and run to the laundry, where it's now, it's like, hey, Ollie, you go find it, darling. You can manage. You're a big guy. You're 17 now. And I won't go. It's like,
Yeah.
mate, come on. But it's simple, but there's two sides to that. One, I'm backing myself going, no, you know what? Your energy is not great. We're just going to sit here. We're not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Rest is medicine. Remember, the
Mm-hmm.
other side of that is by not taking control of all that situation, Ollie's going to be a better person because he's going to actually be able to problem solve without his mother being there.
Yes. I
Call
mean,
it simple, but it's actually real.
mm-hmm. I'm curious about something. When you say that your focus is on healing, I'm curious if you have if it's specific to the multiple myeloma, it's just life, right? Because we
It's
all have
life.
other things in life, whatever our experiences are, that we
Yes.
want to focus on healing. And that's kind of why that's what I figured, but I was just curious.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. You're spot on, Nikki. It's not about cancer. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about disease.
Mm-hmm.
It's about healing and living absolutely in the moment to the best I can be for me.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
And that's what healing is about.
Mm-hmm.
Adversity comes in all shapes and sizes,
Mm-hmm.
financial, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of different ways. I just happened to get the health card a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. But a path of healing
Yeah.
is, I liken it to, if you get your phone out and you go into your maps and you put in healing, what does your map do? Your map will find healing and give you a blue line,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is what we've just been doing in Spain and in Japan, right? You
Yeah.
don't know where you are, can't speak the language, and you trust implicitly that that blue line is going to get you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Healing. And as you're going along, what happens is roadblocks. There's things that happen. But
Mm-hmm.
what does always happen with your GPS, with your map? It'll always recalibrate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how you're going to get there. You just know you will.
Yeah.
And that is the simplest way for me to talk about the path of healing. Insert your own word.
Sure.
Happiness, health,
Mm-hmm.
insert whatever it is. For me, it's all about the healing, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm healing from not just cancer, guys, but from being the good girl who looked after everybody else and never looked after herself. Like, there's so many
Oh, you just muted yourself. Y-
There you go. I'm back again. Go me. I'm getting a bit excited. But yeah, insert your own word.
Hmm.
Your path of, insert your word. The way we get there in my space is the same,
Hmm.
but your path would look different to mine.
Yeah.
You know, we want to go and find our serenity, go
Mhm.
find those serenity moments because they're moments in time. And, you know, I say the saying, which is, you know, moments matter because
Mhm.
moments become memories, and that's how we make every day count.
Yeah, I love it.
And, you know, and that's why my cup says make every day count, because on there are some days when I don't feel great and I go in the morning, go, come on, Bron, make every day count.
Hmm. Hmm. So is that
What's
something that
up?
you, is that just yours? Did you have that made, or is that
I
something
did.
like give
Oh,
people?
I've got no. This will be merch one day.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering. It's like, is it?
Yeah,
That'd
now
be great.
there's all sorts of stuff that says make every day count. Why? And then on the other star is my little star.
Yeah.
But it's all coming.
Hmm.
It's I went on a holiday instead, to be
You went
honest
to it
with you.
again? I
I
missed
went
it.
on my holiday, and that's why I
Oh,
went instead of launching, I went on a holidays.
I mean,
So, but it will come. I've already got dozens of these are all done, they're all made. So what it does though is it's that's that little tiny
yeah.
jink in your memory. Oh, that's
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
And I've made that commitment for myself.
Hmm.
And what's one thing, the next play, what's the one thing that I can do for myself
Hmm.
today?
Yeah, so good.
Because the one thing leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing. Before you know it, you've got the momentum going.
Hmm.
And that's where motivation comes from. And that's where, you know, when you're living out that's when the miracles happen, when God, in universe, whoever, when
Hmm.
those messages come in because you've allowed it to happen
Yeah.
versus being the control freak. Well, that was me anyway.
So I'm going way back for a second, but I have a question that sort of just dawned on me that I don't think that you hit on.
Hmm.
Was there for you, right? You get hit with these two big things, and you went from, I guess, was there a turning point? What was it that you were like, okay, I can't sit and wallow. I can't be fearful. I have to work on me. And so what, I mean, do you have like a
I
moment?
do. I do
Okay.
have a moment in time. So it was in, I think, November of 2017. I had had my second dose of chemotherapy,
Mm.
bald, very, very sick. And I had a belief back then, which is I had to deliver what I said I was going to deliver because that was the right thing to do,
Hmm.
irrespective of whether it was right. I just thought it was the right thing to do. So in my mastermind group that I was running at the time, I got on a Facebook Live. Goodness knows what I said. I shudder to think what I said. I'm so sorry, people. And I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, oh gosh, who's that? And then I've realized, oh, that's me. Red, sick, round face. And I literally did this. I went, do you want to die? Because if you keep this up, girl, you are in a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
And I shut that mastermind down overnight with no plan B.
Wow.
And that was my turning point
Hmm. Hmm.
of it was either me or a really bad decision. And that
Hmm.
was the day that I went, I'm backing me and I don't know how this is going to work. I ended up doing Facebook workshops. You know, I think I did the Facebook workshops on maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday because I was having chemo on the previous like 6 days before.
Okay.
And yeah, because I had to, you know, financially I had to work. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't have the luxury of having time off. So
Mhm.
um, I just looked with what I had, you know, what we call the quality easy in life. I looked what I had in my toolkit and what could I pull together that wasn't going to cost me more
Yeah.
of my soul.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we are here today. And it was hard.
Hmm.
It was very, very hard
Yeah.
and many, many levels. But that was the very first time that I went, Bron, we're backing you, girl. Let's do it.
Awesome. Very good. Well, what's the best way for people to find you, to find the Serenity Project, to reach out if that's what they need to do?
Yeah. I think the easiest, go to serenityproject.com.au, sign up for the newsletter, and also send me messages. Like I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Just send me messages. I'll answer them all. So I think that's the thing, is to start conversation. If you've got some questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. And yeah, by putting yourself on that mailing list, you'll then hear about all the cool stuff that's coming.
So I have here bronwatson.com. Are there two different websites?
There is, but go to serenityproject.com.au,
Okay.
I think is
Okay.
the best one. bronwatson.com will lead you to Serenity Project, but I think it's just one less click.
Okay. Okay, good. Because I need to know, make sure I put the right thing
Yeah,
in
yeah, sure, sure,
stuff.
sure.
All right, very good. Well, cool. Well, I am super grateful that you joined us. It's been a really, really just sort of eye-opening but real conversation, and something that I think, I'm sure that somebody who was listening really needed to hear it, because a lot of people are living in a lot of scary times in a lot of different ways,
Yeah.
and so we need to have a place of calm and grounding, right? And so thank you for what you're doing. It's good stuff.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate it. And thanks for having me. I really enjoyed catching up with you again.
Yeah, I know. It's such an interesting thing that it's a longer than I want it to be between conversations, right? But
That's okay. That's life.
it is, I know. But I'm grateful for you. So everybody go check out the serenityproject.com, see what all Bron is up to, and all the big things she's doing in this world. So I love it, and I hope that we'll keep up with each other for
Oh,
sure.
I'd love to. I would
Yeah.
absolutely love to. I think there's a lot of alignment here.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so next week I'm on vacation, heading out to see the family. So you can find us every week except for next week, streaming live on kuhsdenver.com. We are at this point, anyway, we've got some technical difficulties at the studio, so we're still just sort of working with this a couple of we're missing a couple of things that we've had in the past. Doesn't really matter, but we'll be back the week after next, and just you know, my prayer for everyone who listens and watches this show is just to listen to things that Bron say. Know that listening to your body is one of the most important things that we can do, because it's always communicating, and we have so much capacity, ability to take control, and we make the outcomes of our future in large
Yep.
part. I mean, I didn't hit on this, but I love epigenetics, right? And because I fully believe
Yes.
it's God.
That's one of the things I want to learn more
Yes.
about,
Yes.
actually.
We have lots of fun stuff to talk about.
Woohoo!
But I fully believe it's God's gift of free will, right? The choices we make are what impact our future. And so, it's not about being perfect, but it is about having the awareness and making mostly good decisions. But we are all still human. But really, be curious, listen to your body, and know that everything that we're doing is really helping us to live to that fullest capacity, to fully taste life. And yeah, I think that it's a really fun place to be, no matter how hard things can be. It's really great to know that so much is up to me. Um, so we'll stop there. But thank you again for being here, and we'll see you hopefully soon. Let's talk about epigenetics.
Yes, I'd love to.
All right, wonderful, Brian. Thanks everybody for being here, and we'll see y'all here in a couple of weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.